guys, so this is a continuation of my old, retired forestry truck restoration or something along those lines. As you guys have already seen, we've knocked out the interior and quite literally transformed that to look pretty dang good, something acceptable to sit in for sure. We've also done trim restoration using solution finish, and now it is finally time to see what kind of magic we can do with this paint. So as many people might already know, being an ex-forestry truck, this was a green truck at one time, and once it saw its last day, it was repainted in single stage silver, and quite literally some of the worst single stage paint I have seen. I would assume that it was either a Mako job, if not worse, right? And so not as bad as roll-on paint, but we're getting pretty close. So this has been completely oxidized, and I honestly don't think that this truck has been detailed in the last 10 years or even ran through a car wash for that matter. It was just so heavily oxidized, I don't think any of that would have helped in the first place. So basically, we're gonna see what kind of magic that we can do. I've already done a test spot on the hood to see what kind of shine, what kind of gloss we're able to achieve, and why this isn't gonna be some insanely glossy, clear-coated car. I think we're gonna be able to get some shine out of this single stage paint. I think we're gonna be able to get a little bit of something. I think from 40 feet away, this will be a decent looking truck. So from this point, what we're doing is we are gonna be starting wet sanding with 3000 grit Trizact and basically going through the entire truck, smoothing out all that old oxidation because it has basically built itself up to the point to where we can't get a polisher onto the vehicle and have it spin freely and have it actually do any work. So the idea is to knock a lot of this down with the 3000 Trizact. Obviously be careful not to blow through the paint because let's be honest, we wouldn't want to make it look any worse. And so once we get everything smoothed out and dried off, that's when we go into compounding. So we're gonna be using a couple different compounds today, seeing what works best for the truck. Probably starting off with the Last Cut Plus. We also have some Koch Chemi compound that we can play with as well, just to see what kind of result we can get. From there, we're gonna be finishing out with a polish and then saving this thing for a coating in G-Technics C1, the oddball coating out of the bunch. And so we think that this is gonna do a pretty good job, and then maybe even top it off with EXO. And the longer we can keep this single stage paint looking good, the better. So I'm gonna throw on the GoPro on my head, you know, bring you guys along for some sanding and some polishing, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy this. We're not gonna do a whole lot of talking in this video because we have a lot of work to do, but enjoy the details. All right guys, so we're continuing to wet sand and work on this. So how did we get started, right? A lot of people are probably wondering, did we just jump into wet sanding on a dirty car? So no, we actually went through the entire wash process and chemical decontamination process. So we brought the truck into the wash bay. We did a complete spray down with G-Technics iron remover, which looked absolutely insane. It quite literally turned the silver truck purple, and so worked fantastic, right? I got rid of a lot of that residual surface rust that was still sitting on the surface, and so the paint rust, as I should say, not necessarily the rust itself, but it definitely exposed that, and that rinsed pretty cleanly once we rinsed off with the pressure washer. From there, we used the G-Technics citrus foam, foamed down the entire truck, got it nice and foamy, started jumping straight with a bucket wash, got a lot of the extra contaminants and all the extra chemicals removed, and from there, it was quite literally just a rinse, clean the wheels really quick, and then bring it into the studio, and it kind of self-dried because, again, this just sucked all of the moisture in, and now here we are, and we're wet sanding. So hopefully at this point, we'll have a new level surface, something that's smoother, something that's more even, and something that we can finally polish on. Holy oxidation up here. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. You know something's pretty bad when it just absorbs quite literally all of the moisture. It just sucks it up. I can't believe I talked to all these guys into working on my truck for free. I'm a genius. Good work, guys. Nice, looking good. And that is a wrap. So hopefully this video kind of brought you along in the process of how we got this truck to look where it does now. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it extremely glossy? So much glossy you lose your mind? No, not at all. It's actually probably the complete opposite of that. It went from being the mattest finish to what I would consider to be maybe a semi-gloss, right? Maybe, I think Dane could agree. He's kind of nodding behind the camera. So it's shiny, right? We've got it to where it's got a little bit of a luster, but it is by no means glossy. And so I don't think we would have achieved the really glossy look unless this was a better quality single stage paint or something that had clear coat over the top. But for what it's worth, we got rid of all that oxidation. It took up most of our time. Hence why we jumped straight into sanding, right? There was no point in using machines because it was gonna gunk up pads really fast. We were gonna blow through a lot of pads, a lot of product, and it wouldn't have been efficient. So basically, 3000 grit Trizact by hand was the fastest way to break through this. Some people might be wondering, why didn't you use KXK sanding blocks? Guys, that would have taken forever. This was not meant to be a show car. This was meant just to remove oxidation. So using the Trizact with just water was able to cut through a lot of that oxidation, clean it up with towels and isopropyl alcohol, and then keep going along. And so finally, we got to the actual cutting process, and we broke out a bunch of different tools. I mean, we had probably 4 or 5 tools running at one time. Even Dane behind the camera polished chrome. We had Nick, our video technical director, over here polishing out the areas above the windows. Everybody kind of got in on this, and it was really fun. And then, of course, the master of shine, Levi Gates himself, blessed us with his presence and his rotary skills to really lay some knowledge and some gloss down, or some semi-gloss, as I should say. So all in all, we used the Last Cut compound, the Last Cut Plus, a lot of different Rubez pads, everything from the coarse wool to the yellow wool, and then the foam as well, and then the G-Technic metal polish as well. And then we even threw in some clarity cream on the windows. We kind of threw a little bit of everything at this truck because, you know, what's the worst that could happen? So it was kind of cool to utilize different brands to get this exact result. So anyways, at this point, guys, the truck is ready to be coated. So all we have to do is do a paint prep wipe down, and then we'll be going in with C1 and then maybe even topping with XO. If we can't achieve gloss the right way, maybe we can achieve some gloss the artificial way. So as always, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed just the polishing process and seeing some single stage be brought back to a little bit of life, not full life, but some life. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, subscribe down below for more, and stay tuned for more videos right here at The Rad Company.